Look, early in my term, I announced a major plan to provide millions of working families with debt relief for their college student debt. Tens of millions of people in debt were literally about to be canceled, their debts. But my MAGA Republican friends in the Congress, the elected officials, and special interests stepped in and sued us, and the Supreme Court blocked it. They blocked it. But that didn't stop me. I announced we were going to pursue alternative paths for student debt relief for as many borrowers as possible. And that's the effort that's been underway the last 2 years.
It's not my responsibility to pay off your debt. I'm so tired of this. Welcome back to the program. Dana Loesch here with you. You can listen coast to coast. You can stream the radio program, channel 347 DirecTV. I have no idea what's going on with my hair today. I just had like a Mad Max moment this morning. I was like, blanket. And so, I don't know. I feel like I look like I just emerged victoriously from the Thunderdome. Anyway, welcome. You can also find the newsletter over at Substack, Chapter and Verse. It's not my responsibility to pay the debt that you signed for. I am so tired of this stuff right now. What are you sitting over there giving me that look for? I'm getting ready to get angry, and I'm trying not to because I don't want to be like angry old dude radio.
I know. And sometimes
but it makes me mad.
Sometimes I love, jumping in when you do that. Cut 7, though, according to James Clyburn, we're not. This isn't any money we're giving away. This isn't money we're giving away. Listen to what he says.
Going forward, every 2 months for the next 4 years, another 75,000 people will become eligible for this forgiveness. And I want to say to your listeners, this is not giving anybody's money away.
Yes, it is. Where do you think that money comes from? Oh, my gosh. It is given the economic illiteracy. I just want to tie weights around all these economically literate people and throw them in the depths. I'm done. People work too damn hard in this Biden inflation economy in order to be told that they have to sit here and pay for this academic aristocracy, all the debt that these people willfully chose to accrue. It is not our responsibility. That money comes from the taxpayer. They are assuming someone else's debt. If I have to take your debt, I'm going to take everything in your life. That's ridiculous. That's what this is. They're demanding that everyone else, it's like me saying, oh, I'm going to go buy a car, but I don't really want to pay the loan on it. So I want it, quote unquote, forgiven. So that means I'm going to have all you all out there pay it. You all are going to pay it. That's exactly what this says. And most of these people get some BS humanities degree, right? That's what it is. They get some stupid humanities degree. They get something that they're actually never going to be able to use. It's so goofy. And you're on the hook to pay it. You're trying to pay for your kids' school. You're trying to pay for just your bills to keep a roof over your head. And now all these people expect for you to pay for their very bougie degrees. And a lot of the stuff, as we talked about before when we broke this down when it came from CBO, it was grad school and basically a lot of government workers' debt. I mean, it's a vote buying scheme. That's exactly what this is. It's buying votes ahead of the election, buying votes. $130 billion, and he's promising this going through California. I had someone tell me, and I always get so tired of this, so I just go ahead and preempt them, because they say, oh, well, it's just you're so privileged, etc. No, we're not gonna be doing this. We're not doing that. It has nothing to do with that. And first off, the whole thing with, when I grew up, I was raised by a broke single mother, and I knew a poverty that most of these people today complaining about their student loans have never experienced. They have never experienced it. Do you ever know what it's like to actually be super hungry and the only thing that you can afford to eat is milk, gravy, and biscuits, or not even be able to have enough money to buy your own notebook paper, or not have enough money to get new shoes for the start of the school year, never ever having new clothes and having to wear old hand-me-downs, because that's just part of the life that I lived. I didn't have anybody pay off anything for me. I didn't have any government money paying off anything for me. And I certainly didn't sit on my ass when I became an adult and expected that to continue. You make your own opportunity. And all the people who say that you can't, they're just too damn lazy. And that's the truth of it. You're lazy. This is about you wanting a free ride on the back of the taxpayer. And I'm going to tell you something. If you think that this is the kind of country in which you can't do that anymore, then maybe before you go cast your vote for another damn Democrat in 2024, you step back and ask why that is and how has my vote contributed to that. Maybe kind of do a little inventory here. Do a little wellness, spiritual check. It's asinine. And then these people think, a lot of the people that are arguing for this, they have the audacity to think that you're being envious. Oh, well, I guess, envy is the coveting of your neighbor's money and expecting them to pay for the bills that you signed up to pay for that they didn't. I wasn't there at the table when these people were signing the loans for their college tuition. I wasn't there. I wasn't invited. Did you get invited in, shareholder, taxpayer? Because I sure as heck didn't. This is not an investment of my tax dollars. This is robbery. And again, it's paying off the debts of people who vote to raise your taxes. They vote to keep your kids out of school for pandemics. They vote to put DEI in your kids' school, and instead of having your children learn about programming or mathematics, they're learning about genitalia. That kind of stuff. It is the definition of irony for these people to say that opposing it is somehow selfish or envious. And this money comes from the taxpayer. There's not just like some money tree out there. It doesn't come out of the ether and just, boom, appear in your hand. It comes from the taxpayer. But see, people like Joe Biden's never worked in the private sector. Joe Biden doesn't know. Joe Biden's never generated wealth. He's never generated money. He's never had to make payroll. He's never had to do any of this stuff. He is a ward of the state, a dependent of the state. You know what? I was watching this thing. It's this old documentary. It's called The Wild Wonderful Whites of West Virginia. You've heard about that, right? Tap dancing outlaw. And I'm like, that ain't tap dancing, but whatever. But they're big lefties, and they're all on government welfare. They're like a very famous family in West Virginia. Everybody knows them. And, it's like, I don't know, there's like some kind of like American, Appalachia iconography or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, long story short, they are all on government benefits and all this stuff. And I've read, over the years, articles and stuff that act like, oh, well, they're on government benefits. And that's so... And it's other Democrats that say it. Like, they don't want to be associated with Democrats who bilk the system. And they think it's just Class A. The Bidens are the same thing. You realize that, right? All of them working in the public sector. Except for Jim, who once ran a nightclub before he got into public policy, because that's the pathway for that. They're on the public sector. That whole family's been working in the public sector, been working on government. But they just put on airs and act like that's somehow better than being on welfare and bilking the system. You realize that when you've been in government that long, you're just a glorified welfare recipient. That's the reality of it. So don't sit here and act like you're so much better than everybody else. At least other people are being honest about bilking the government out of taxpayer dollars. You act like you're performing some sort of service. What service are you performing? For real. I mean, that's the truth of it. So I think about that. I mean, he's only ever worked in the private sector. It's no different. It's no different from any of this. So where's this money come from? They don't know. They don't know where the money comes from. They don't know where the money comes from because they don't know how it's made. They just think, well, it comes from the government. You know how many people on the left say this stuff? Well, where's that money coming from? The government. It's the government's money. You mean the government has like a big pile of money that it just generated by itself? Well, yeah. And it just takes that money. Where did the government get that money? They print it off. Oh. Oh, is that how that works? All right. You see what I mean? I'm not kidding you. I have literally these are grown adults who raise children. Which is terrifying. And they drive cars next to you on the road. That's terrifying. And they vote. This is the stuff they actually think. I don't, did they go to school? Yeah, it's public school. Good night.